We're inside the last 21 minutes of the SportsMax Zone for this Thursday, and we're going to switch now to football. The stage is set for the 48th edition of the COPA America final after Colombia confirmed their place in the championship decider with a 1-0 victory over 10-man Uruguay at the Bank of America Stadium in North Carolina, USA on Wednesday night. Now, in a contest that ebbed and flowed, Jefferson Lerma's 39th minute header was enough to secure Los Cafeteros the victory that propelled them into Sunday's final against Lionel Messi's Argentina, the defending champions. Now the result stretches Colombia's unbeaten run to 28 games. And our football analyst, Brent Sancho, joins us via Zoom for a review of the game that saw Uruguay play the second half short-stopped because of a red card to defender Daniel Munoz. Okay, Brent, you have shown some respect for Colombia in the past couple of weeks. How good were they last night as they stretched their unbeaten run to 28 games?
Well, they were good enough to play for, about 60-plus minutes with 10 men. That in itself was impressive. And look, it showed us another side of Colombia. It showed us that grit that I always felt that they had, that ability to organize themselves, and that ability to also win games. It's very difficult to win games at 10 men at this level, especially against a Uruguay team that's in good form. And there is a lot of belief and confidence there. But when you look at it, Lance, and when Colombia went down to 10 men, despite the fact that Uruguay huffed and puffed, they didn't really carve open any real, genuine opportunities. And even if they did, the lack of quality was there. And so, Colombia's goalkeeper didn't have much to do as it relates to that. But give credit where credit is due. Yeah, you do feel that this Colombia team is showing all the signs of a team that's on a mission to try to win a title, and that performance against Uruguay certainly exemplifies that.
Yeah, how much did Uruguay's lack of clinical finishing contribute to the result here? Because there were times in the second half, Brent, when Colombia, because they were down, they were short-staffed, they were sort of playing the low block and ensuring that, the Uruguayans, didn't run rampant in their offensive third, the Uruguayan offensive third. But if Uruguay's finishing was a little sharper, the result could have been different.
Yeah, you would think so, especially with the type of players that the chances fell to. Darren Nunez, as we just saw there, and of course, Luis Suarez had one as well. So you may play a part, but I as much as I say that, I don't want to take away from Colombia's organization and grit. In particular, their defensive duo at the back. I thought they were exceptional. I thought they were good. They were strong. They were well organized, as I said. I just don't want to take away from that, Lance. As much as you are correct, some of the chances with better finishing, a better approach, might have ended up in the back of the net.
Yeah, and Brent, I have to say, Uruguay, they would have put in a lot of work to get to this point. It was really, really unfortunate to see the type of chances that Darwin Nunez got, the ones that you mentioned just now, and of course, Luis Suarez, chances that I couldn't believe that they missed. And that's what happened in matches like this, right? You get the opportunity, you don't capitalize on the opportunity, so you lose the game.
Yeah, I would say so. I know Lance was pushing me to make a comment on Darwin Nunez and, of course, his form in Liverpool and how frustrating he is to Liverpool fans. I think he's carried some of that over to this game. A player that most in world football suggested probably needs 4 or 5 chances before he takes one. And he did have the 4 or 5 chances. He still didn't take one. But yeah, I think the chances with the type of quality that we've seen from Uruguay in the tournament, the type of quality that we expect from Uruguay. Again, we talked about the front runners, who the chances fell to. You would have felt that at least 1 or 2 of them would have ended up in the back of the net, and it didn't happen. And I think when you look back at it, you start peeling it apart, Uruguay really have themselves to blame because they did get into those situations to possibly put the ball in the back of the net. And they didn't do that. And because of that, Colombia went on. And of course, when the game was 11v11, it must be said, Mariah, Colombia bossed it. Colombia looked like the team, looked like the more likely a team to score. Eventually, they did score. And of course, they looked the better team. But once that switch and the numerical advantage came for Uruguay, obviously they had the impetus. And as I said, they had the chances to possibly equalize, and they didn't do that.
Yeah, Colombia getting the job done with 10 men. And Brent, you know, what I find so disappointing is the reports that came out after. Of course, alleged reports that Darwin Nunez, they said that videos emerged that Darwin Nunez was, of course, involved in a brawl with the fans, and they've seen footage of him, of course, hitting the fans and everything. Now, I did read reports from the captain, Jimenez, and he said that, well, you know, there was no police and they had to protect themselves and they had to protect their families. So I turn the question to you now, Brent, like, what are your thoughts on what happened after? So you lose a match and then this brawl happens after, Colombian fans. And for me, I always say there are a couple sides to a story. So, of course, there would have been something that would cause him to react in that way. I don't think he was so angry at the match that this happened. But, you know, it's just unfortunate that that's the headline today.
Yeah, as you're right, there's many sides. There's actually three sides to a story. And as much as I don't have the fullness of it, I just want to pinpoint something, Mariah. Now that you've gone down that road, there's been a lot of complaints about this tournament, whether it be the pitches being in a disgraceful state, the organization of it. And of course, now we hear about reports of possibly not enough security there. This tournament has been shifted to the US for one reason alone, and that's for financial gain. And of course, because of that, I just felt that the organizers of the tournament have really let themselves down. Albeit, of course, Mariah, it must be also said that this is a country that's going to host the World Cup in 2026.
Yeah.
So I hope that this is a dress rehearsal for 2026, because there is a lot in that dressing that needs to be fixed. And so as we look back at it and trying to take the positives away, I just feel that some of the glitches that we saw, big glitches, we hope that it can improve coming into 2026, because I think for a tournament of this size, this magnitude, and this financial gain attached to it, there's just way too many complaints and way too many shortcomings.
Right, and on the back of that just happened, Uruguay will play Canada in a third place playoff match. So Brent, you know, the question now swirling around everybody is, after what happened, do you think Uruguay will even show up to play Canada? That's like a real question.
Well, I was about to say, it depends on who's not suspended or been sent off or been reprimanded for their part in this. I do think they would play. I think it's too much at stake. I'm very sure if they don't, there would be ramifications for it. Again, we've seen the games here having, of course, vociferous crowds, passionate, emotional. We've seen some very nasty and ugly things. Of course, we've seen things in the Euros as well as it relates to that. But it is disappointing to see that. I just hope that, again, that, of course, Uruguay does play in this game against Canada. But more importantly, that the lessons that comes out of this is learned and applied to the next big tournament that's meant to be held in the US, which is the World Cup. And as I said, disappointing to see some of the things that are happening. But again, we have seen this a couple of times now where the passion spills over into the pitch.
Yeah, and Brent, I'm stealing a minute from our producer, so I'm going to ask you a 2-in-1 question. Tell me the result for Uruguay, Canada, and predict from now. We'll talk about it in the week, though, but the Colombia-Argentina final.
I just think Uruguay would show up and probably put things to bed. Marcelo Bielsa is too much of a professional coach to allow that game to go awry. It's very hard, Mariah, to go against Argentina. As much as Colombia is on this long unbeaten streak, and I think they are, from where I sit, the best team in the tournament. How many times we've seen a team win a tournament as not the best team? And I just think Argentina have too many characters within that locker room that's been there, done that, and worn the T-shirt. So I just slightly head towards Argentina winning the Copa again because of that, despite how poorly they've played in it.
Good job, Brent. Over to you, Lance.
Well, that's it. That's the end of the segment. I quite thought, though, I thought Uruguay would have been a more dangerous challenger for Argentina than Colombia will be. So, which is why I hesitated yesterday when you asked me to predict from then, because if it was Uruguay through to the final against Argentina, it would be harder for me to be confident that Argentina would win. But I think Argentina has Colombia's beating, as Brent just suggested.
All right, well, only time will tell. We'll see if Argentina walks away with the winning medal. Brent, thank you so much. We're going to take a yeah, no problem. We're going to take a break here now on the SportsMax Zone, and when we come back, interactive.